Is there going to be a blue wave? Because I keep hearing there's going to be a blue wave in November, right? If you're not familiar, this basically means that all of the Democrats are going to rise up, vote Democrat, and vote out Republicans in the midterms. I kind of just don't know if that's the case, because it feels like the Democrats are split. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's a Democratic socialist. That means she's a socialist. And she upset this district in New York, and her politics are aligned with the Democratic Socialists. They endorsed her. This has got many liberals and Democrats kind of worried. For sure, there are many mainstream Democrats who kind of endorsed some of Ocasio-Cortez's positions, but there are some Democrats who are saying, no, back away from this, you're going to lose. If you were going to ask me, I think that pushing to the far left is a losing position, because the far left is tiny. And what the Democrats need to do is attract the moderate voters to vote Democrat, the swing voters. The people who voted for Trump and who moved from Bernie to Trump, you're not going to get them by going further left. You're going to get them by, look at Bernie Sanders, right? He's far left relative to Democrats, but he still refused to say abolish ICE. And what does that say? You need to convince swing voters to come to your side. James Comey tried this, and because of it, he is being excommunicated. I'm being a bit, it's hyperbolic, right? Obviously not everybody hates him, but he's certainly getting called out. This story from the Daily Caller, liberals savage James Comey for unsolicited advice to Democrats. This is, by the way, the Daily Caller is very biased, just so you know. I'm pretty sure you're all aware of this. The Daily Caller is a conservative site. Former FBI Director James Comey's unsolicited Twitter advice to Democrats on Sunday turned out to be not as welcome as he'd likely had hoped. Now, I'm pretty sure James Comey knew he's going to eat shit for this, so he said, Democrats, please don't lose your minds and rush to the socialist left. This president and his Republican Party are counting on you to do exactly that. I agree! America's great middle wants sensible, balanced, ethical leadership. I agree. What I think is going to happen if they keep pushing this far left, I mean, look, Cortez said in a video, Bernie Sanders tweeted this, that she's going to flip this seat red in November. In America, that means make it Republican. I think what she meant was she wanted to make it socialist red. But either way, what she said is going to be very scary for Democrats, because she's either saying she's planning on losing or she's a socialist, and people are going to be kind of worried about that. I think that the average person is going to be met with two positions. A right wing, which is going to be your standard conservatives, people like Ben Shapiro even. And then you're going to have the fringe far left calling for abolishing immigration enforcement and no borders. Obviously not mainstream, the mainstream Democrats aren't saying no borders, but the DSA is. The Democratic Socialists are saying no borders. They're saying no prisons. They're saying no police. They're saying no profit. Right? That's fringy. And so when a moderate is presented with like, okay, here you go. Here you have your right wing, and you can vote for them, even though you kind of disagree with them because you're like right here, or these guys, all the way over there. Yeah, they're going to be like, well, at least these guys believe in us having a country. And so you're essentially forcing people to vote for a group just because you've created, you're shifting everything to the left, where the liberals just become so far. Let's put it this way. If everybody is sitting right here, right? If everyone's right in the middle, and then here's the left and the right, and you pull everyone like this, guess what? Now everyone's technically on the right just because they're moderate. You're not going to win. So according to the article, it says, turns out, not every Democrat welcomed the advice from the former director. Comey was blasted on all fronts Sunday by former Democratic staffers, pundits, Hollywood types, and media members, all telling the former FBI director that his advice was unwelcome. Kathy Griffin said, we probably wouldn't have Trump if it weren't for you, so maybe you should cut your losses. Not only this, but people think Comey handed the election to Trump by coming out with the email, the whole email scandal thing just before the election. So this is actually a really fascinating bit of what is referred to as, well, I'll call this unintentional black propaganda. If you're unfamiliar with the term, black propaganda is a style of propaganda, right? So whereas overt propaganda would be someone, an activist, feeding you specific information to make you believe something, black propaganda would be, say, someone pretending to be a feminist, then yelling insane bullshit so that you think feminists are crazy. The goal is to taint the other side by pretending to be them. James Comey, by coming out and saying, don't go socialist, you're now going to have a whole bunch of mainstream left being like, wait a minute, James Comey's the guy who helped Trump. Thus, tainting the idea of avoiding socialism. Essentially, it's going to make the left double down on being socialist. Not all of them, just some people. Like what we're seeing with Kathy Griffin. Brian Fallon said, Democrats don't want your endorsement, but thanks. Again, people are like, oh, James Comey thinks we shouldn't do this? Well, then we're gonna, because James Comey's the bad guy. Tommy Vitor said, hey, Jim, we got this covered. No one is asking for your advice. As we saw during the campaign, your judgment isn't great. All the best, everyone. James Comey, is he a Republican? I could have sworn he was. I don't know, but he's doing a great job helping the Republicans. I genuinely believe if the left keeps pushing into socialism, they're going to lose. And I'm talking to a lot of people, not political people, just like some friends of mine, family members, and I'm like, do you think Democrats are going to win? And the answer is no. I read some article that said something about like the blue wave being literal propaganda, that the Democrats are trying to encourage people. I can't remember what it was, but it said something like, if you tell people you are guaranteed to win, they're not going to come out because they think they don't have to. So the more they talk about a blue wave, the more people are going to be like, yeah, we're going to win anyway. The other issue is that the economy is doing well. Unemployment is down. You know, things are doing well in the country right now. So there's a lot of people who don't know what's going on, aren't paying attention, other than the fact that things are going well. So why would they want something different? I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm not, you know, one of these guys who reads these polls every day. I read the news, but you're going to have to talk to statisticians and, well, actually, I take that back. The polls have been wrong. It's just so wrong lately, so we'll see what happens. Molly Knight said, we are in this mess because of your judgment. Yep. Joff Thorne, Game of Thorns, said, this mess is largely your fault. Keep your mouth shut while we fix it. You've done enough. Are they saying they disagree with him? Because if they keep pushing socialism, open borders, no prisons, they're not going to win. Oh, this is great. John Hadron just said no. His handle is @fart. Who is this guy? Like, @fart? He's got 145,000 followers. He's a cyber genius, adult goth, and storm chaser. I don't know why this guy's opinion is important, but he's followed by people like Eric Carvin. I believe he was with the Associated Press. We've got David Clinch of Storyful. I mean, people follow this guy. You know, there's Olivia Nuzzi. Apparently, @fart is decently relevant in this landscape. So take @fart's advice, Comey. No. Bill Kristol. Advice from James Comey, expert on not losing your mind in the heat of an election campaign. I don't know what he means by that. Oh, God. Here's Glenn Greenwald. Jim Comey has been a self-proclaimed Democrat for about 7 seconds, and he's now posing as an expert political strategist, issuing pompous lectures about what ideology the party must adopt. Basically, do what you've done for the last decade and it'll be great. No, this is what these people can't wrap their minds around. What happened in the last election was a dramatic departure from what has been done over the past 10 years. Barack Obama, well, actually, no, perhaps he's right, because during Barack Obama's presidency, identity politics went rampant, okay? Obama didn't win because necessarily of identity politics. It was a different time in 2008, and he maintained his position. But we came to a point where everything went so crazy with political correctness that a lot of young people went for Trump. Bernie supporters went for Trump. They don't seem to understand that things have gotten so extreme that people are actually saying they would rather go with the Republicans because at least the Republicans are sane. I think there's a lot of crazy Republicans. I mean, we're seeing this Sacha Baron Cohen stuff. These people are saying crazy shit on camera, thinking that it's like, even if it was a joke, if someone was like, "Do you want to do this comedy script?" I'd probably be like, "I'm not reading that. Are you crazy?" You know. But this idea is the left is pushing so far to the left. They're going further left, and these people think that's a winning strategy. Trump won because of swing voters. He didn't win. Let's think about it this way. Let's say most people in this country are far left. Is your argument that far left socialists voted for Trump because you weren't left enough? That makes literally no sense. Okay, let me reiterate. You want to go farther left, Glenn Greenwald and all of these people. But Trump won in the last election, which would imply they didn't, like, the people you need to vote for you who voted for Trump aren't going to be like, oh, you're further left now? Oh, okay, now I'll vote for you. No, that's not the issue. The issue is that you were already too far left, so they went right. Like, what is so hard to understand about this? These people are insane. It's crazy. They're doubling down on this idea that going further away from the people you need to win an election is the way you win an election. It's almost like these are all people engaging in some kind of conspiracy to help the Republicans. I'm being facetious, but it's like, it's something I call the Chinese finger trap problem, or a finger trap problem. That the harder you pull, the tighter your problem becomes. Like, this is what the left is in right now. They're in a finger trap, and they're screaming, pull harder to the left. And all that's doing is tightening the trap around their fingers, and they're stuck. They cannot solve the problem, they cannot escape the trap until they relax a little bit and stop making ridiculous arguments that the people who voted for Trump did it because you weren't progressive enough. People didn't leave Bernie Sanders because Trump was more progressive than Hillary Clinton. They left Bernie Sanders because Trump was opposed to trade agreements. So I don't know what these people are on about, but the trade agreements are more, like free trade is closer. Okay, let me say this. Bernie Sanders voters didn't like NAFTA and the TPP, which are free trade agreements. Now you've got the DSA saying open borders. Bernie Sanders agreed with some aspects of that. So when Bernie Sanders was out, they went to Trump. Now you've got the DSA saying straight up no borders. That's not what people wanted. And it's not why they left. They left Bernie Sanders because of this, because Hillary Clinton was, you know what? Everybody's insane, absolutely crazy. If you want the Republicans to win, by all means, keep pushing this stuff. Anyway, I gotta go. I've got work to do. I'm heading into the city. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know what I'll have up tomorrow, but I'm going to an event with like Majid Nawaz and some other people, and it's supposed to be interesting. So I'll probably be tweeting about it. So follow me on Twitter, Timcast, and I'll see you all then.